In 1929, three young friends innocently posed on a California beach. 95 years later, scientists enlarged the photograph and discovered a terrifying secret. And before continuing, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications so you don't miss any new videos. The Stanford University laboratory was immersed in the typical silence of research nights. Dr. Elena Martinez adjusted her glasses while examining a collection of historical photographs donated by the Henderson family. Among the sepia images and family portraits, one photograph in particular caught her attention: three young people smiling on a California beach with the date 1928 written in faded ink on the back. "Michael, come see this," Elena murmured to her assistant. The young graduate approached, intrigued by his supervisor's urgent tone. "What do you have there?" Elena placed the photograph under the high-resolution digital microscope. The Henderson family says these are their great-grandparents and a friend at Malibu Beach, but there's something strange in this image that I can't identify. Modern technology allowed them to magnify details that the human eye could never perceive in 1928. As she adjusted the equipment controls, Elena felt a strange sensation in her stomach. The image began to reveal details that shouldn't be there, elements that defied historical logic. "Do you see that in the water behind them?" asked Michael, pointing at the screen. Elena frowned, increasing the resolution even more. What they saw next froze their blood. On the marine horizon, partially hidden by the waves, they could clearly distinguish the silhouette of something that shouldn't exist in 1928. The metallic and aerodynamic shape was unmistakable, but impossible for that era. "This can't be real," whispered Elena, but her hands trembled as she adjusted the controls once more. The next morning, Elena arrived early at the laboratory with iron determination. She had spent the entire night researching in California's historical archives, looking for any information about the three young people in the photograph. Their names written on the back were Charlie, Margaret, and Thomas. Summer of 28. Michael was already in the laboratory, surrounded by history books and old newspapers. "Elena, I found something disturbing," he said, without looking up from a yellowed newspaper. "Look at this." He showed her a news story from the Los Angeles Times dated August 15, 1928. Three young people mysteriously disappear at Malibu Beach. Authorities suspend the search after a week without results. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. The names, Charles Henderson, Margaret O'Brien, and Thomas Mitchell, exactly the same as in the photograph. Michael pointed to the descriptions in the newspaper. According to the article, they were last seen on the beach taking photographs with a new camera that Charlie had bought. "But if they disappeared, how does this photograph exist?" asked Elena, holding the image in her hands. "Who took it? How did it end up in the Henderson family's possession?" The investigation led them to police archives from that era. The case was never solved, but there was a disturbing detail. Several witnesses reported strange lights in the ocean the night of the disappearance, describing them as brighter than stars and moving impossibly. Elena enlarged the photograph again, this time focusing on the expressions of the three friends. Their smiles seemed forced, and in their eyes there was something she hadn't noticed before: pure fear. The Los Angeles Police Department archive kept secrets that had remained unrevealed for decades. Elena and Michael obtained access to the original case files of the Henderson-O'Brien-Mitchell case, where they found testimonies that were never published in the newspapers. "Listen to this," said Michael, reading the testimony of a fisherman named Jose Ramirez. "I saw green lights coming out of the water, as if something big was submerged. The kids were on the shore, but they didn't seem scared. It was as if they were waiting for something." Elena examined the statements from other witnesses. A woman named Dorothy Walsh had seen the three young people talking with tall figures, dressed strangely near the rocks. Her testimony was dismissed as female hysteria, typical of the era. "There's more," continued Michael. "A Coast Guard reported that night he received a radio transmission in a language he couldn't identify. It lasted exactly 7 minutes, and then total silence. The file also contained a letter that was never sent, found in Charlie Henderson's room. Elena read it aloud. "Dear family, if you're reading this, it means something went wrong. I can't explain what we've seen, but Margaret, Thomas, and I know this is bigger than us. The photograph will tell the truth when technology is advanced enough." "How did Charlie know that future technology would reveal something?" asked Michael, visibly disturbed. Elena returned to the laboratory with a new theory. She enlarged the photograph to the maximum possible detail, focusing on the hands of the three friends. What she discovered left her breathless. Each one was holding a small metallic object, perfectly identical, that shone with its own light. Dr. Robert Chen, a materials analysis specialist at the California Institute of Technology, agreed to examine the photograph after Elena explained the situation. His laboratory was equipped with cutting-edge technology, capable of analyzing chemical compositions through high-resolution digital images. "This is extraordinary," murmured Chen, while studying the data on his computer. "The objects these young people are holding are emitting an electromagnetic signature that doesn't match any known material from 1928. Elena and Michael exchanged nervous glances. "What kind of signature?" asked Elena. "The composition suggests an alloy of metals that weren't discovered until the late 20th century, specifically rare earth elements used in modern space technology." Chen enlarged the image on his screen. "But there's something more disturbing." The scientist pointed toward the water where they had seen the mysterious shape the day before. "I ran a spectral analysis of that area. The disturbance in the water suggests the presence of an object with extraordinary magnetic properties, something that could generate the electromagnetic fields necessary to displace large volumes of water." Michael took notes frantically. "Are you saying there was something real in the water?" "Not only that," responded Chen, adjusting his glasses. "The photograph shows evidence of low-level gamma radiation. In 1928, the only known source of gamma radiation would have been natural radioactive materials, but these levels are consistent with advanced propulsion technology." Elena felt the world swaying around her. "Dr. Chen, are you suggesting that these three young people had contact with technology that didn't exist in their time?" "Elena, as a scientist, I must base my conclusions on empirical evidence. And all the evidence points to these young people being witnesses to something that defies our understanding of technological history." The search in the Henderson family archives led Elena and Michael to the house of Dorothy Henderson, 89 years old, Charlie's great-granddaughter. The elderly woman received them in her modest Pasadena home, surrounded by family photographs that told decades of history. "I always knew there was something special about that photograph," said Dorothy, serving tea in antique porcelain cups. "My great-grandfather Charlie was a very intelligent young man. He studied engineering at UCLA, but after that night on the beach, he simply disappeared." Dorothy guided them to the attic where she kept Charlie's personal belongings. Among university books and technical drawing tools, they found a leather-bound diary hidden behind a wooden beam. "I had never seen this before," murmured Dorothy as Elena carefully opened the diary. The pages were filled with extraordinarily detailed technical drawings, flying machines of aerodynamic design, propulsion diagrams that seemed decades ahead of their time, and mathematical equations that Elena recognized as quantum physics principles. "Look at the date of the last entry," pointed out Michael. "August 14th, 1928, one day before his disappearance." Eleanor read aloud. "Today, Margaret, Thomas, and I received confirmation. We have been chosen to witness something that humanity is not ready to understand. I will document everything I can before it's too late. If someone finds this diary in the future, they will know we weren't crazy." The following pages contain detailed descriptions of encounters with beings of superior knowledge who had shared advanced technology with the three friends. Charlie had drawn their faces with photographic precision, humanoid figures with elongated features and deeply intelligent eyes. "Dorothy," said Elena with a trembling voice, "did your family know something about these encounters?" The elderly woman shook her head, but her eyes shone with a mixture of curiosity and fear. "We only knew that Charlie changed a lot in the weeks before disappearing. He became more serious, wiser." The Stanford laboratory had become an improvised research center. Elena had convened a team of specialists, historians, physicists, engineers, and forensic analysis experts. They were all fascinated by the implications of the discoveries. Dr. Sarah Williams, a historian specializing in 20th century technology, examined Charlie's drawings with a magnifying glass. "These designs are extraordinary," she said. "They show understanding of aerodynamic principles that weren't developed until the 40s and 50s. Meanwhile, Dr. James Patterson, a theoretical physicist, analyzed the mathematical equations from the diary. These formulas describe theories about electromagnetic propulsion that are at the forefront of current science. An engineering student from 1928 couldn't have developed this independently." Elena had requested a second opinion on the original photograph. Carbon-14 analysis confirmed that the paper and ink indeed dated from 1928, eliminating the possibility of a modern forgery. "We have to find more physical evidence," declared Elena. "If these events really occurred, there must be some trace at Malibu Beach." The team moved to the beach, armed with metal detectors and geological scanning equipment. The area had changed drastically in 95 years, but Elena had the exact coordinates based on reference points visible in the photograph. After 3 hours of searching, Michael's metal detector began beeping frantically. 2 meters under the sand, they found a metallic object the size of a coin with unusual magnetic properties. "What is this?" asked Michael, holding the object with tweezers. Elena examined it under a portable magnifying glass. The surface showed microscopic engravings in perfect geometric patterns, impossible to create with 1928 technology. Even more shocking, the object emitted a faint green luminescence, similar to the objects the 3 friends were holding in the photograph. "This confirms everything," whispered Eleanor. "Charlie, Margaret, and Thomas were really here, and they weren't alone." The investigation had attracted the attention of government agencies. The FBI contacted Eleanor not to stop the investigation, but to share classified information that had remained hidden for decades. Agent David Morrison arrived at the laboratory with a briefcase full of declassified documents. "Dr. Martinez, what you're about to see has been under national secrecy for 95 years, he said seriously. The documents revealed that the U.S. government had been aware of the Malibu Beach events since 1928. A classified military report described anomalous activity on the California coast and contact with unidentified entities. "Did the government know what happened to Charlie, Margaret, and Thomas?" asked Elena. Morrison nodded gravely. "Not only did they know, but they recovered some of their personal belongings days after the disappearance, including a second camera that Charlie had hidden among the rocks." Eleanor felt her heart racing. "What did those photographs show?" "Clear documentation of contact with non-terrestrial beings, images of advanced technology, and something more disturbing. Evidence that Charlie, Margaret, and Thomas didn't disappear by accident. They were specifically selected." The documents included transcripts of intercepted conversations between the 3 friends in the weeks prior to their disappearance. They spoke of messages they had been receiving and a mission they had to fulfill. "What kind of mission?" asked Michael. Morrison extracted a black and white photograph from the briefcase. It showed Charlie, Margaret, and Thomas alongside tall, thin figures, clearly non-human. According to the documents, they were chosen as ambassadors. Their task was to document the contact for future generations. Elena examined the photograph with trembling hands. "What happened to them afterward?" "That, Dr. Martinez, is what we hope you'll help us discover, because according to our records, Charlie Henderson, Margaret O'Brien, and Thomas Mitchell didn't die in 1928. They simply left." Back at the laboratory, Eleanor and her team analyzed the new photographs provided by the FBI. Using advanced digital analysis techniques, they began to uncover hidden layers of information that had gone unnoticed for decades. "Look at this," said Michael, pointing at his screen. "There's microscopic text engraved in the background rocks. It appears to be a message." Eleanor adjusted the resolution to maximum. The letters were almost imperceptible, but clearly intentional. After hours of meticulous work, they managed to decipher the complete message. "For those who come after, we have seen humanity's future. Do not fear what you do not understand. Charlie, Margaret, and Thomas, guardians of knowledge." Dr. Chen had been analyzing the physical properties of the objects found on the beach. "Elena, these artifacts contain information encoded at the molecular level. It's as if they were extremely advanced data storage devices." "What kind of information?" asked Elena. "Stellar coordinates, mathematical formulas, and something that appears to be maps of places that don't exist on Earth." While they processed this information, Dorothy Henderson called the laboratory. Her voice sounded agitated. "Dr. Martinez, I found something else in the attic, a sealed envelope that was stuck under a drawer. It says, 'To be opened when the truth is revealed.'" Eleanor and Michael rushed to Dorothy's house. The envelope contained a letter written in Charlie's handwriting, dated August 13th, 1928. "If you're reading this, it means you've found the photographs and have begun to understand. Margaret, Thomas, and I didn't disappear. We were invited to be part of something bigger than us. We have seen worlds beyond the stars and civilizations that exist in harmony with the universe." The letter continued. "We left these clues so humanity would know it's not alone. When your technology is advanced enough to understand, you will find this message. We are still here, waiting for the right moment for the next contact." Elena felt chills run through her body. What does "we are still here" mean? The investigation had lasted 3 months when something happened that changed everything. Eleanor was working alone in the laboratory one October night when the lights began to flicker inexplicably. The electronic equipment showed anomalous readings, and a strange calm took over the environment. A soft but clear voice resonated in the laboratory. Elena turned slowly and saw 3 figures standing by the door. They were taller than average humans, with refined features and deeply intelligent eyes. But most shocking was that she recognized them. They were Charlie, Margaret, and Thomas, but somehow transformed. "Don't be afraid," said the figure Elena identified as Charlie. His voice had an ethereal quality, but retained human warmth. "We have been waiting for someone with your intellectual capacity and open mind to find our message." Elena felt her legs trembling, but managed to maintain composure. "What happened to you? Where have you been for 95 years? Margaret smiled with an expression that mixed nostalgia and wisdom. "We have been learning, Eleanor. They took us to a place where time works differently, where consciousness can expand beyond physical limitations," Thomas added. "We were chosen because we had the capacity to serve as a bridge between 2 worlds. Our purpose was to plant the seeds of knowledge that humanity would need for its next evolutionary phase." Eleanor found her voice. "Why now? Why reveal all this now?" Charlie approached, and Eleanor could see that although he retained his essential human appearance, there was something fundamentally different about him. "Because humanity is reaching a crucial point. The challenges you will face in the coming decades will require a deeper understanding of your place in the universe." "The photograph was just the first step," explained Margaret. "Every discovery you've made has prepared you for this moment. Now you have the opportunity to decide if humanity is ready for the next level of contact." Elena felt the weight of responsibility. "What do you need from us?" "Continue sharing the truth," responded Thomas. "Prepare others to understand that intelligent life is not a rarity in the universe, but a norm, and that collaboration, not competition, is the key to the survival of any civilization." 6 months after the encounter, Elena had published her findings in a series of scientific articles that revolutionized multiple fields of study. The international scientific community was divided, but the evidence was too solid to be ignored. The Stanford Laboratory had become a center for extraterrestrial contact research, officially recognized by the US government. Elena directed a team of elite scientists from around the world working to understand the implications of the discoveries. Dorothy Henderson, now 90 years old, had become an involuntary celebrity. Her house was visited by researchers and journalists from around the world, but she handled the attention with grace and wisdom. "I always knew Charlie was special," she told Elena during one of her regular visits, "but I never imagined his disappearance would be the beginning of something so big." The objects found on the beach continued to reveal secrets. The most recent analyses suggested they contained communication technology that could allow direct contact with distant civilizations. Michael, now co-director of the project, worked on deciphering the patterns of encoded information. "Eleanor, I think we've found something extraordinary. These objects aren't just storage devices, they're keys." "Keys to what?" asked Elena. "To open a bi-directional communication channel. Charlie, Margaret, and Thomas didn't just leave evidence of contact, they left the tool to continue that contact." Elena contemplated the horizon from the laboratory window. Malibu Beach stretched in the distance, the same place where 3 young friends had changed the course of human history 95 years before. Tonight, while configuring the communication equipment based on the artifacts, Elena felt a mixture of excitement and responsibility. Humanity was about to take its next great evolutionary step. The device activated with a soft green glow, and a familiar voice resonated in the laboratory. "Elena, are you ready for the next phase?" It was Charlie, his voice coming from the stars. Elena smiled, knowing the true adventure was just beginning. "We're ready, Charlie. Humanity is ready." And so, a photograph taken in 1928 had opened the door to a new era of understanding, contact, and infinite possibilities for the human race.